Morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you happen to be watching this. Welcome back. My name is Nell. I go by Life Coach Z. Have my protein coffee here. I believe it's about 37 grams of protein. Homemade pumpkin spice syrup. So bomb. But this morning I woke up with some lovely inflammation in my elbows, both elbows, for the first time since taking this autoimmune journey into my own hands. If you watched my first video, there are some contributing factors that I feel like may have caused me to wake up with this morning. One was the incident yesterday, stress, the way that an autoimmune disease responds to stress, for me at least, is inflammation, swelling. So yesterday could have been like a triggering point for me. I also do know last week I was getting sick and I had inflammation, but only in one elbow. At least I attributed my inflammation last week to getting sick. Now I'm kind of trying to think, was that accurate? Was my body trying to tell me something else? But it went away within a few days, or it went down almost instantly with my ginger shot in black seed oil, and then was gone by the time I was no longer sick. Today, I have inflammation in both elbows though, and I woke up this morning and I've already worked out. I took my ginger shot and it's still there, pretty much the same amount. So I'm just gonna show you guys. For me, so this is the most I can straighten my arms right now. It really hurts. I don't know if you can really tell. There's just swelling there. Like that's the swelling. I don't know. To some people it might just look like my skin. That's how my arm looks. But the fact that I can't fully extend or straighten out my arms, like that's my arm straightened out right now, which it's not straight. So my inflammation, it's there. A little painful, but during my morning workout, I was able to like sit back and reflect on this journey that I have had. So I've been living with this for roughly 37 years, and I took it into my own hands essentially. My mother was no longer the one like deciding what route we were going to do as far as like medication and doctors once I turned 18, you know, an adult thing to do for yourself. So roughly 21 years this has been in my own hands, right? And I was going through, like, from what I can remember at least, of my journey. So I was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis at, I believe, 2-3 years old. It was like the definitive diagnosis for me, right? I know typically if I'm having a flare and I were to call my doctor, well, at least the rheumatologist that I currently have, the process is, let's put you on prednisone, get your swelling down, and while you're on prednisone, let's try out a pill or a shot or infusions and give it roughly 30 days to be in your system so that it has time to work. Any nurses, doctors that happen to be watching this, or somebody that has an autoimmune disease themselves, you probably know this process or have been through it yourself. Because I know that is the process, I'm still sticking to the journey that I'm on, because I feel like essentially I get prednisone, right? That's a steroid. it helps my swelling go down, but it doesn't solve the problem, right? Because I can't stay on prednisone. And the idea is that I'm on prednisone for maybe 2-3 weeks. Although during my misdiagnosis, I was on prednisone for longer than that because my medication wasn't working and I was still in pain. But I digress. So I'm put on the steroid that immediately starts working while being put on a prescription that we're basically on like a trial basis with, right? And we're gonna see what happens. But if that medication doesn't work and then I'm taking off the prednisone and my flare comes back, that means I need to try a new medication. And sometimes for my rheumatologist, that also means I need to go back on prednisone. I know that process. I've been through that process. I've only had this doctor, I think, for a year, maybe a year and a half. I had a previous rheumatologist that I was working with because she works with clients that are trying to or wanting to get pregnant. So there are other medications that she works closely with because you're able to be on those medications and also be pregnant. It's no longer my situation. So now I have my new rheumatologist. And I don't want to go that route. I don't want to be put on prednisone if I don't have to be put on prednisone. So like I said, I know stress, that can cause a flare up. I know being sick can cause a flare. I know certain things that I eat can cause inflammation within my body. My food has been pretty much the same for the last few months. So as far as I can think, I didn't add anything different. As far as nutrition wise, yesterday, I had a cheese that I haven't had in a few months maybe. But other than that, which maybe that's what it was. I know cheese is an inflammatory food, I believe. Cheese, milk. But I have milk every day. Fairlife is the milk I use. But I don't know if lactose free makes a difference as far as an inflammatory food. I haven't divulged that deep into research. I just like to go based off of what has worked for me, what works for my body, and like try things out. I'm not a dietitian. I didn't go to school for that. I went to school to be a therapist. So that's not my scope as far as education wise. It's only my scope based off of my experience and what I'm trying to do for myself. But could have been my food. Could have been the stress yesterday. The weather, it's actually relatively warm for New England. It's supposed to be in the 70s again today. Typically in the fall and winter time, it starts getting colder. And I know that is also a point in time where inflammation comes back into my body and I could have a flare. This morning it was pretty foggy, so maybe that had something to do with it, right? There are all these factors. So I'm going to take my time and try to see if what I'm doing is able to get my swelling down. Also, I've had 2 total knee replacements. I kind of have a decent threshold as far as pain goes with this autoimmune disease. And I'm going to tough it out until I can't tough it out anymore. I don't want to be on prescription medications for the rest of my life. I've literally been on medications for as long as I can remember, at least off and on. So I remember 7, 8, 9 years old, going to the doctors every 3 months and getting gold shots in my legs. The nurse, my mother having to hold me down because have you ever had a gold shot? It burns. Like, I don't know what is or was in gold shots because we don't give them to kids anymore or anybody, I think. It burns, and I can vividly remember the shots in my thighs burning as the medication was given to me. I remember my mother having to crush up my weekly medication and give it to me in applesauce. And I remember I didn't like applesauce for a long time as like a teenager, young 20-something-year-olds, because I connected it with my medication and didn't enjoy that. I remember the liquid naproxen when I wasn't taking pills, and I believe that was every day. And this is elementary school. This is what I went through. I remember when I was in high school and college giving myself shots. I did Enbrel, and then anything that came from Enbrel like Humira, giving myself a shot. Giving it to myself every week or every other week. In my thighs, in my stomach. I remember when I was in elementary school, my legs were, I guess, so inflamed, or it was so difficult for me to be able to straighten my legs all the way that we ended up fitting me for braces, and I had to sleep with braces on my legs at night. And for anybody that sits for an extended period of time in one position, when you move and you're stiff, imagine that, but while you're sleeping. So for 8, 9, 10 hours, I'm laying in bed and I can't bend my legs. They're permanently straight unless I unstrap my legs. And then I would need to pick my legs out, and I would have to like force bend them until it was comfortable. Like, these are my experiences with this autoimmune disease. These are my memories of how I was, in my mind, I thought as a child I was going through all of this to heal my disease. It didn't click to me that this was going to be a lifelong, forever journey until, so I remember in middle school, I was told, oh, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, you're gonna grow out of it because it's juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. So, you know, when you reach puberty, it's not gonna be there anymore. And around 7th, 8th grade, I was told, it's in remission, you're good. It came back in high school. And that's when I was like, this ain't going away. This is me. I am this. I slowly let myself know that I am more than this autoimmune disease. It is a very big part of me. That has been a very big part of my journey. But there is more to me than juvenile rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis or whatever I'm being told it is now, whatever form of arthritis it is, because I'm no longer an adolescent. I'm going to figure it out. And I ask you to join me along this journey so we can figure it out together. Maybe there's somebody that's also having a really rough time with a diagnosis you've recently gotten, whether it's autoimmune disease or something else. There are times this has sucked a lot. Being a kid, not being able to do certain things, not being able to sit in Indian style. I still can't sit in Indian style. Not being able to run, or being told that you can't run or you can't do certain things like the other children because, Sanel, you have arthritis, you have to take it easy. That pushed me to be like, nah, I am more than what this is, and I can still do what everybody else can do as long as my body tells me that it's okay. I ran track in high school. Also ended up with 2 total knee replacements in my 20s. But I still did it, and I can run today. After my total knee replacements, I have the energy, I have the willpower, I have the strength to be able to get up, to go walking, to go jogging, to go running, if that's what I choose to do. And listen to my body, and I don't push myself, and, you know, I'm not popping and causing other ailments within my body. This is going to be a process. I know that it's going to be a process. It was a good smooth sailing them first 75 days, getting in my 45 minutes. It was also summer. it's good weather. Life's. No matter what, we're going to have our ebb and our flows, and we're going to go through our cycles. Things are going to be easy at times, and things are going to be difficult at times. Right now, I feel like my body's trying to tell me we mustering you up for something. I don't know what that something is, but I know I'm not giving up. I know I'm not going to let myself feel defeated, and I know this is just giving me the strength and the willpower to continue on in this journey. Because currently, I don't trust my doctor, and I can do this. Come join me.